light will come on and you'll be ready to speak. Thank you.
Okay, there's just a few. Okay, I've made a few photos to hand out to the panel and get myself a little organised. Colin, Vanessa, do you want to hand them? Yeah, okay. So they're each in, okay.
So I should say we have been out to inspect the site this morning.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you.
So there's also, I'll hand that around later. Yes, I know. And actually, I did a lot of this not realising that you came out today, to see what it is. So firstly, I'm sorry I haven't numbered them, but it was, firstly, I'm just going to address the bushfire hazard. So please remember that it's been not even 3 years ago that the town of Bundanoon faced a major bushfire event. That threat still hangs in our minds and obviously is prevalent to us. We, the public, rely on you, the planners, to get it right. There are approximately 3,000 residents and 25 local firefighters putting their lives on the line in the hope that you do get it right, really. The forest photos in there, I was, obviously today you came out and had a look at it, but I was just trying to highlight the continuation of this significant forest. Now, I've shown you I've gone north, east and west. There's a few of the north, but it's just showing you that canopy and the stretch of that significant forest. Now, there is not greater than 100-metre distance between the canopy. The whole thing would meet the RFS guidelines as a continuous forest, and I was showing you those photos, and the large ones show you, which is a panorama, which I don't have, but you've got the large ones, showing the panorama, and you would have seen that today, of the continuation of the forest. I wanted you also to look right in the front of my place. The Harris report makes, so the photo from the Harris report shows, and you saw my place today, the black house that's looking over the dam. Yes, that's the bushfire one, So that actually shows right in front of my place. I'm just taking a snapshot of that, and it looks like there's 1 or 2 trees, but in actual fact, because I didn't think you'd ground truthed it, that there's actually, 7 or 8 significant trees of about 25 metres. So I'm just saying that what is on paper, it looks different in real life, and it's great that you went out there. And I was just highlighting that. Also the eastern forest, which hopefully you had a go today to have a look at that. We have counted over 75 significant trees, and some are over 30 metres high. I might just show you the house also on Redgrundy, at the end of the cul-de-sac at Redgrundy, where there is another proposed house site, and I'm pretty sure you got to see that as well. And you can clearly see that there is a canopy of over 25 to 30 metres. It is a dense forest and proposes significant fire risk. This is deemed to be managed parkland by the developer. So if we have another event, who wears that blame on the fire front? Okay. This development is clearly being judged by the lines on paper and satellite images by the developer. And I was happy, definitely happy to see you all there today. The forest will be replanted and needs to be assessed on its life as a mature forest. And furthermore, the developer needs to ensure that the blocks from stage 1 of this same development really has an asset protection zone. There is no mention of this in the whole development application, and this is quite negligent, because it means that me or anyone there is going to have, there's no asset protection zone for us, and it's not even in the forethought of the developer. Moving on to the dam, so many reasons why this should be protected. Clearly a significant wildlife corridor, home and breeding area for so many species. Diverse and healthy vegetation is part of a riparian zone. Should we turn that off? And when I put my application into council, I needed to identify every plant species that was there. And there was, from the assessment that I had, the expert, flora expert, as I said, there were so many old species of grass that were identified that I had to keep. And so obviously that goes right through that whole development. But most importantly, 350 metres of the 400 metres of riparian zone is proposed to be completely remodelled. And this is catchment area, which does need state and federal approval. Does that not signify an importance that should not be overlooked? And no application to the Office of Water has been submitted. I wonder why. Now, on to the fauna study. I live right on this dam riparian zone. I see and hear daily the incredible diversity. More than that, it is the home to those animals. So the study that was done by Harris was a monitor, a SM4 monitor was placed, and that's in your documents as well. There's a photograph of where that monitor was placed. It was placed 200 metres from the dam, not where the frogs or most of the fauna will be. The frequency of that monitor has to be manually calibrated to achieve the result. Colin, did you want to say anything about that monitor? No, don't worry.
Yes. Sorry, no, sorry. We have to run a proper meeting. Each person will have a talk. Only one person talks at a time. They must be at the microphone.
Yeah,
so
okay.
when you're finished,
Yeah,
the other
you can say
person can
something
speak.
about the
Thank you.
monitor.
Please
That's
don't
okay.
speak from the floor.
Yeah. Within a matter of minutes, Vanessa went down with a handheld phone and then, with the assistance of the Australian Museum, identified a threatened species of alpine frog. Now, that alpine frog, which this has come back from the museum, is not only a threatened species, it's a species of alpine frog which is new to this area. They're like very excited that it's being found in this area. It is significant and that was in a matter of minutes she found that. Does that not say that, hey, this needs a proper study from someone that actually is concerned about the ecological community? I certainly know that there are many environmental groups that have contacted us and media that would be dying to take that up. So, I've got this frog here that if, anyone wants to do.
Sorry, Ms. Robert, you've gone on for well.
Okay, yeah, I'm just about to finish. Yeah, okay, so there's 48 species on the threatened species in Wingecarribee. The BDAR for this looked at 3. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. The other thing that I have got here on the front page, that is the 36-metre setback that should be applied to the forest, being that it's a continuous forest, and 36 metres should apply for the bushfighting rating. But I think that Colin will probably address that. Okay, thanks.
You half answered the question I was going to ask you about what that was explaining.
Yes,
So
yes,
you're saying that's the setback, so that
that's right. Yep,
development should be this side of the line.
That's
not
right.
in there.
yes, that's right. That's the 36-metre setback that should be applied. Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to clarify the area that you said should have been classified as forest and it's been classified as grassland. Is that right?
It's been classified as rainforest. It's been classified that there are small individual identified places of forest, so they're not in a continuation. So when you have let's say 1 hectare, it's very close to that of a individual forest, it is classified as rainforest. Now Colin will probably clear that up when he comes here. He's much more across it. But this forest is actually, and how you denote that or how you judge that is that there needs to be at least 100 metres distance between the forest. Okay, so if it's not 100 metres, then it's classified as one main forest. Okay, so we're saying this forest is actually a continuous forest. Okay, so it should be judged on its hectare, which is significant.
So the area through here is the area that you're talking about on your on the
Can I just come
diagram?
and have a look? It's
So
actually the whole area.
This bit here is a bit that you're worried about?
So the area actually, let me see where I am. Yeah, okay, so that is forest, or that it should be all out there. So this is a 30-metre setback from that forest. This is
Right,
all forest.
so you weren't worried about this bit, the
No.
classification of this bit?
Yeah,
Okay, it was the classification of
yes,
this.
this is the forest. around here.
Right, and then the
If
implication,
you want to just clarify that, can you clarify that? So
Perhaps
here's-
we'll ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay, ask, he'll clarify
We
that.
might
Okay,
hang on to
yeah,
that
okay.
until Mr.
Yeah.
Tyson
Yeah.
gives-
Yeah, okay,
did you have a copy yourself?
I do.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, thank you.
Did you have any questions, Mr. Tyson? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So would Mr. Tyson like to read, talk next or Vanessa? Vanessa. Vanessa. Please.
What did you say about?
Excellent.
Okay. I'm going to stand, if you don't mind. I have a stream at the bottom of my property which leads directly into the waterway below. I've got pictures of the waterway. I believe that I don't have one to give out to everybody, but this, if you have a look, is the waterway.
Which lot number are you?
I'm sorry?
Which lot number are you?
I am 8 Idlewood Ridge, so I'm directly opposite the, it's lot number 15, I think, on the old plan. So that is a waterway. I have a stream at the bottom of my property that leads directly into that waterway. This is another photo of the trees. Okay, it's a lush area down there. It's always green. These are the trees above the waterway. The waterway is down here. You can see animals in that area. My concern is for the destruction of this riparian zone. I mean, the plan is to fell the trees and also fill in the waterway. And that's something we're not going to get back. I have any work, there's a natural resources access regulator. I saw on the papers there was something there from Water New South Wales. I called them. They signed off on the drinking quality of the water from that area, not work to fill in the waterway. They don't have the authority to do that. They told me to call NRA, the Natural Resources Access Regulator, which I did, and the Department of Primary Industries, and there is an Office of Water. Any work to be done in a riparian zone or activity to waterfront land, including depositing gravel or fill, or any activity which affects the flow of the water or filling in of that creek, for example, needs approval from the Department of Primary Industries, not Water New South Wales. Is there a controlled activity approval document to do work in this riparian zone? It's not on the website from Council, so we have not seen it. What is being done about that? And when I spoke to them, NRA, on the phone, they said, well, that will be in breach of the Water Management Act if there is no document. The Department of Planning and Environment issues a controlled activity approval, and as I said, there's no evidence of that being there. Once that waterway is gone, there's no coming back from that. I mean, it's 2022, and I think the general theme in the world at the moment is to preserve the environment. It's also an animal corridor, and we can't get it back once it's gone. I think that on the Wingecarribee Council, I learnt a new word, greenwashing, as opposed to whitewashing. The Wingecarribee Council site is full of greenwashing. They tell us how, you know, they want to help the environment. They've actually, I just want to regress back to those photos. There's signs 100 metres away from where those trees and that waterway are going to be filled in. Help protect, I just want to read it out. Help protect ecologically endangered communities of Wingecarribee Shire. Harming the vegetation in this community is an offence under the Threatened Species Conservation Act. Okay, that's 100 metres from where the trees and the waterway are going to be filled, a sign. Then you've got another one, exactly behind the house that Linda was talking about, bushland regeneration area. This bushland is a regenerating remnant of Southern Highlands shale woodlands. Thank you for the timer. Yeah, 3. The Southern Highlands shale woodlands. Also on the endangered list, there's a sign there saying that they are protected. This development is pulling down a whole lot of those trees. And back to the riparian way, our rates, it's important that I get this across. Wingecarribee Council Shire has paid taxpayers' rates to get this Mittagong Creek Riparian Management Plan happening. So they've paid goodness knows how much money to get a riparian treatment plan for Mittagong Creek, yet they're going to destroy a riparian zone that is there at the moment. Further down the road, in the yards, we've got this is the old slaughterhouse. This is heritage protected, yet the trees in the riparian area are not heritage protected. As I said, I'll wrap up now. Once they've gone, there won't be any coming back from it.
Thank you. Just wait there. There might be questions. Did you have any questions, Mr. Barwick? Yeah.
So you're about there and the water course?
Correct, yes.
So the water course is between the back of your property and that?
Comes from up here, and they're planning on putting concrete piping through there
Yep.
and filling up
So that's who this is property
over here. And
FIO was presented.
this is a natural stream, and they want to fill not only the natural stream, the actual creek where animals are feeding, always lush, they want to fill that in.
In your contact with NRA, did they give any indication about whether it was a mapped watercourse for their purposes?
NRA could not tell me the actual development. They
No,
were-
no. The question was, because NRA has mapped every watercourse in New
Right.
South Wales.
They don't know,
They
they
don't-
don't have
okay.
specific.
Sorry,
They don't-
please, can I not have comments from the...
NRA
There are
couldn't-
speakers who can speak and answer questions if they can. Thank you.
NRA couldn't deal with my specific address. I've
Right.
actually they told me to report it to suspicious water activity because they
Yep.
said it's not right, that they need to have approval for this.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
I might get those...
Oh, I'll take them back.
Is there the next speaker, Colin Tyson? If either Mr. Tyson or Bruce wants to respond to anything that they talk about, hanging there, feel free now.
Sorry, I'm not aware of that. What was the question, the answer?
Sorry, I think in responding to one of the questions, someone from the gallery wanted to respond, and I'm just saying if that was you or
That wasn't
the
me.
next speaker, they could.
I'm happy to talk about it.
Thank you. I
but
was going to say, if you
I
feel
only
there's
had-
something that you haven't been able
Madam
to
Chair,
respond
I only
to.
had 3 minutes, so I'm very
Yes.
conscious about not wasting it. But
Yes.
the question you asked, sir, was that yes, it is marked on the Topo map, and it's an unnamed tributary, Strala Level 1 of Reedy Creek, which flows in the Paddy's River. Ma'am, the question you asked before, was Bruce, is it? The lady over there?
Heather
you asked
Morton,
the-
yes.
You asked a question before about the bushfire. Were you talking about the patch of ground in Bundanoon Oval?
No, I was asking whether where you're saying was the issue that, were you saying that this was forest and that was a problem and they haven't treated it as forest?
In the bushfire report, Harris Consulting have identified that as a remnant on the basis of section 1111 in the appendix, which gives them the opportunity to, for an area that's less than 1 hectare and more than 100 metres away from a bushfire-prone land, can be classified as a remnant and therefore can be assessed as rainforest, which gives an 11-metre setback. The issue at hand here is that that's actually part of a 1.5 hectare catchment. It will be reforested and it's only 80 metres from a bushfire-prone land. So it cannot be classified as a remnant. It has to be classified as sclerophyll forest, and therefore it has to have a 36 to 54 metre setback before you get to the asset protection zone. What's been put in the Harris reports, and you've only been given 2 of them, there's actually 3 of them in the environmental reports, in the fire reports, is a lie. And I'll say it, not a problem at all, because I've spoken to the developer, I've spoken to the consultant, and she will not give an answer back. So I put it in writing to her, and I've spoken to her. She knows, and she's on notice, that what she's done there, by classifying it as a remnant, goes against the Planning for Bushfire Guidelines 2019. It cannot be classified in Appendix A11. Cannot be done that way. She's lied.
Can I just ask, so what are you saying is, what would be the implication, if it had been classified as you're saying it should have been, What's the implication? Wouldn't they just
The,
have
the
to clear more
implication
trees?
is that what's being shown on Lot 9, which is also called Lot 8, depending on which plan you want to look at, Lot 8, Lot 9, they vary the numbers around a little bit. What's been shown there is an asset protection zone of only 11 metres classified on the fact that it's on a rainforest remnant. But it's not a rainforest remnant, it is wet sclerophyll forest, which for 8 weeks of the year, being mid-January to mid-March, becomes dry sclerophyll forest, and you'll have a 30-metre high fire front running through there. As a result, you're supposed to have a minimum 36-metre asset protection zone, and where the incline goes above 10 degrees, which most of that is in that particular part of the creek, you should have a 54-metre asset protection zone. What's being shown there is a highly dangerous, almost criminally dangerous 11-metre setback.
And then by implication, are you saying that there shouldn't be a house on that lot, or they'd
Lot
have
8,
to, they'd have
also
to
called Lot
redesign
9,
it?
you can't
Is that-
build a bowel. You can't build a property in a fire zone. It's impossible to build a residential bowel 40 or anything else in that area. You
Okay.
will possibly be able to put a bowel 30 or bowel 29 on Lot 9, which is also called Lot 10, depending on which plan you want to look at. It won't affect Lot 11, which is also called Lot 23, depending on which plan you want to let. It's
Sorry,
also called
sorry,
Lot 21.
can I just interrupt? Can I just hand you, this is the plan we're looking at. I just think it would be assistance to us
Yeah.
if you were
This
to
one here is
refer.
also called...
No, don't tell us what they're called. Just, you can take that back and sit down with it.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Right here, you've got an 11-metre asset protection zone. It should be 34.
So that's
Should
lot
be
9.
36.
Lot 9.
It's also
Yes.
called Lot 8 now.
Yeah,
depending
but,
which one you
no,
want.
we're just working on the numbers.
Sure.
These are the plans we're working on. So
So
lot 9,
There should
you
be...
say should have a,
It's got an 11-metre.
Right.
It should have an asset protection zone like that.
okay, so saying lot 9 should be
But-
not built on.
And if it
Yeah.
was classified properly as a 10 to 15 degree, then you should have graded, you should have a 54-metre asset protection zone, which would put you somewhere in there. So Lot 8
Thank
and
you.
9 wouldn't be built.
Is that your pen? I think you left your pen behind.
No, it's not mine.
Oh, okay.
I'll have it.
No, that's
I collect pens. So
Sorry,
that is our issue that Linda tried to explain was it's not a remnant. There's no way that can be classified as a remnant. To classify it as a remnant is negligent, and it is dangerously negligent because if a house was built there, what will happen is actually, if that person bought that block of land in 3 years' time, comes along the council and says, I want to lodge my DA for a house, council will likely tell them, no, you can't build there, you need a 36-metre setback. So a person's paid $1 million for a block of land on the basis that the developer says it only needs 11 metre. In fact, if you approve it, it'll only need an 11-metre setback. But when you come to lodge your plans, it'll need a 36 or a 54-metre setback. And that applies not just for that lot, but also for lot 11, a lot 12, a lot 14, lot 15, lot 16, lot 17, lot 18. All those lots have been given asset protection zones of as little as between 11 and 14 metres. And because that area is going to be revegetated according to the vegetation management plan, it has to be treated as a forest and given at least a 36 to a 54-metre setback, which is not shown on the Harris environmental plans. It's a nightmare, ma'am. I'm telling you, it's a dangerous nightmare.
thank you. Are you ready for questions?
Before I do start, I was able to tell council last Thursday that this hasn't been referred to Water New South Wales as a integrated development, and I'm wondering if that matter's been brought to your attention, because in the papers that you have at page 41, I think it is, you're being lied to, because what it says there at page 44, sorry, advice B, page 44 of your agenda, you're told there that the Water New South Wales has approved these plans. And that's a lie.
Okay, so can I just say, I didn't say this at the beginning, but I would ask that people please refrain from making defamatory
It's not a
statements.
It's a straight statement. It's a lie.
So on that question, before we started, I indicated that the amended plans had been referred to Water New South Wales. There's a response from Water New South Wales on the 14th of June 2022. It hadn't been uploaded to the council's planning DA tracker, but there is a response, and I read out the 2 amended conditions so it has actually been referred to Water New South Wales, and they have provided a response. It's just that it wasn't included in the business
Ma'am,
papers.
could you tell
That
me
is a
what-
fact. I don't want to hear
could
any
you
more
tell me
about it.
what revised plan was given to them? Is it
Thank you.
revision
No, the
C
revised
or-
plans have been given to them.
is
That's my
revision C or
advice.
revision E?
The current plans. The plans on which we
Is
are
that
discussing.
revision C or revision
The
E?
plans which are in the business paper.
We don't have the business papers of that. It's not there. It's not on the DA tracker. We don't have it.
Well, the plans that we have before us at the moment.
Revision E are the drawings we have here.
Revision E, sorry?
E, or this, that one.
Yeah, the subdivision plan is version 1 March 2022, and the referral letter is the 14th of June 2022. Anyway, that's the advice which I'm providing. I'm just going to ask if anyone else has any other questions. Did you?
Just about the issue of the referral. The issue of the referral to the National Resource Regulator. The assessment report says that it has been referred. I mean, we'll clarify this during our deliberations, but it has been referred, and that there was no comments. The New South Wales Natural Resources Assessor Regulator, NRA, confirmed that the proposed development did not require approval under the Water Management Act. So,
Ma'am,
I'm
you're-
just-
in my response, once again, we'd had this problem last year when we stood here. What was being provided to the panel and what's been provided in the DA tracker, 2 completely different sets of advice. We can hardly, as a public, respond to the information that's being kept from us. We understand that the 2nd of June, there was a Rural Fire Service letter that is also not on the DA tracker. You have been provided 2 bushfire reports, but there's actually 3 bushfire reports. We have no confidence in what's on the DA tracker, and now this is the first time I've heard today. And I spoke to Aaron last Thursday. He wasn't aware that it had been referred to the Office of, to New South Wales Water. You weren't aware of that, Aaron, were you?
Sorry, this is not a debate. It's not your opportunity to question other people. You are to make a submission.
Well,
and
okay,
respond to-
righto.
And that is, we're not going to run
I'll
a
do
chaotic
this.
meeting
Okay.
here. So please, if you
I'll start now.
could answer the
What's-
question
I'll start with 3
as
minutes
best you
now, if I
can.
may. What is listed on the DA tracker is not the complete suite of assessment documentation. As such, we cannot have any confidence in the transparency of this particular assessment. You've also been told an untruth, that as far as I was concerned, that it had not been referred to Water New South Wales. If it is referred to what was referred to Water New South Wales was revision C, as I understand it. I would very much like to see the letter that you have, but we'll get to that later. The music drainage diagram that's provided in the plans is for a different development to the development that you now have, completely different lot layout. And it was also done to revision C of the plans, not revision E. There's no indication either that the music diagram accounts for the water in stage 1. It's been superseded by the engineering plans. The bushfire report, as I said, dangerously, negligently apportions no asset protection zones for lot 11. They classify that 2 hectares of bush at Bundanon over, which
Sorry, you've already had your 3 minutes. We've asked questions. We're now in the stage where we're asking questions. Sorry, we have operational guidelines, which is 3 minutes. I've given, sorry, please sit down. Please sit down or I'll eject you from the meeting. We have a 3 minute, I've let you go beyond the 3 minutes, but I'm not going to let you go on. I'm not going to let you on. You're not, what question are you answering?
Ma'am, before I started, I said to you, I'd like to clarify some issues, and so I clarified, and then not 30 seconds ago, I said, now I will start.
No,
on
I
my
know you
3
said that, but
minutes.
you've spoken for more than 3 minutes in substance. So I'm going to cut you off now, and if anybody else
See you
has
in
any
court.
questions,
See you.
When there's a bushfire, who's going to be liable for that?
okay, call the next speaker. The next speaker is Samantha Bruce. Please come forward. Please come forward. Please come forward. I'm sorry, I've given you quite a lot of latitude.
Sorry,
Samantha Bruce, please come forward and speak.
Samantha Bruce, my neighbour. She's sick. I've got her papers.
Oh, okay. Well, if you would like to come and speak on behalf of Ms. Bruce, I'll give you 3 minutes. Or if Mr. Tyson wants to speak on behalf of, I'm happy. Please do so.
Come on. Okay, as I said before, the classifying the land in Bundanoon Oval as managed land is an absolute dangerous practice. It is a sclerophyll forest existing under natural revegetation, 25 to 30 metre high trees with 25 metre crowns. There is no asset protection zone for lot 11, and council already has a problem with lot 10 from stage 1 because it's approved a house which recently sold for $2 million and it also has no asset protection zone. Also, the developer's forgotten about the 6 metre wide drainage easement on the eastern side of the boundary, which is part of its lot 1 approval and has also been revegetated. The fire threat to the community lot will be revegetated. When it gets revegetated, it has to be classified as a forest. Currently, it is now classified as a rainforest, within an 11 metre setback, or grasslands giving a 14 metre setback. In 3 years' time, people will be lodging their DAs to build houses, and they will have them refused because it needs a 36 metre setback. It's a problem for council, not a problem for me anymore. I'll have great fun litigating that. Rightio, let me see. BDAR. The BDAR has incorrectly identified the plant community types. It has identified a grassy woodlands when the forest there was listed in the New South Wales State Vegetation Map 22nd of June this year as being a sclerophyll forest. The Biodiversity Act 2016 came into act in August 2017, does not allow for those credits to be swapped between the two PCTs, something reinforced by the Upper House inquiry that handed down its findings 9 days ago by Kate Rhiannon. So they've classified it as a grassy woodland. It's a wet sclerophyll forest. The difference being is, if the BDAR has based all of its studies on the wrong plant community type, what faith do we have in the BDAR? Let me see. Aquatic. The ground truthing that was done for the aquatic life, they used an SM4 and placed it 200 metres away from the creek line so it could record bats. It cannot pick up toads at the same time as it records bats and aviarian. They're two different Hertz cycles. And there's no indication that the toadlet was actually marked for. Similarly, as of February the 12th this year, the koala is now an endangered species, not a vulnerable species. And so therefore the koala the KAR provided is 8 months out of date. The S88 easement. How these easements are to be established without removing trees and impacting the riparian zone is not stated. You will also see that these Section 88 easements are between 4 and an unknown width wide. They have to have tracked vehicles because vehicles will go down there so they can trim. Doesn't matter, I'll save it for court. This is just ridiculous.
Sorry, can you come back? There might be questions on what you've just addressed us on.
Because I think I've worked it out in my head, and I just wanted to make sure I understood the proposition. So the proposition for part lot 1 is that it's been classified for bushfire threat under its current quite vacant. I'm being colloquial, and the concern is that once it's revegetated and that vegetation establishes, it presents a much greater fire threat, which would require the greater asset protection.
That's a significant part of that.
Yeah,
So
okay.
There's actually 3 other things about that.
Yeah,
We'll stick with
I just
that
wanted
one.
to get the
That one's
fundamental
enough
of
to knock
it.
out.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. I just wanted to make sure they're all.
Yep. That's
Penny
actually
a drop
lot
for me.
11, but it's also the community lot 23.
Yeah, but my understanding was like, once the community lot gets revegetated and forested, that's what is going to then, the proposition is that the required asset protection zone from that lot in a future state is what is going to require.
In as little as 2 years,
Yep.
there will be a significant peatland there, and then there'll be a significant forest within as little as 10 years, and the asset protection zones to be set back there should be 36 and 54, but also existing properties in stage 1, there's no asset protection zones provided for them at all in any of this documentation. Those houses will be uninsurable. They're only $2 million a house, but they'll be uninsurable.
afternoon.
Thank you. I would be interested in your response to any of those issues raised that you think
Well, I'd
are of relevance.
What
Yes.
I'd like first is to receive a copy of what was presented to the panel just then. I mean, I question some of the accuracy and validity of what was just accused. That's the first point.
Oh, sorry. I'm happy for a copy of this to be provided.
And the photo, yeah, everything that was presented and
Yep, sure.
just said.
Miss-
Oh,
Mr. Parker.
thanks.
Thank you. Did you? So, would you like a short adjournment so that you could read that?
No, well,
This
I don't
document?
think I'm going to be able to answer. I mean, there's a lot
Yes.
there of which is far excessive of my authority and
Well, just do your best.
no, well, I can.
I mean,
do,
you don't
I can
have
do my
any of
best,
your
but I mean,
experts.
as Colin is the same. He's not a fire expert. He's not an
Yes.
ecologist.
No.
He's
You
not
don't have
anything
any
like
of your
that.
experts here today.
No,
your
that's right. and I'm not
ecologist.
an expert, so
No.
I
Okay.
don't know how
Well,
I could accurately answer any
yes.
of those. But I would
Well,
like to
if your
refer.
answer is that your advice from your experts is that everything that's been done, that's required to be done as far as you understand, I guess that's the best that you can do.
Yeah, well, I'd
if you
like
don't have your
to-
experts here
yeah,
today.
I mean,
Yes. Anyway, please proceed if you've prepared something.
well, it's just really to thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name's Doug Graham. I've worked for RJ Capital for a number of years. I've been involved with this site specifically as a development site for over 20 years. I've been involved with this farm for over 40 years with the previous people that owned it. It has always been farm and land for the last 150 years, if you want to go on the historical fact. The application has previously been before the planning panel, where it was recommended for approval by the council staff, and as noted in today's report, the planning panel chose to defer the application to allow certain matters to be addressed. Now, RJ Capital, the applicant, has diligently sought to address all of these deferral matters raised by the planning panel and has provided revised plans and reports to demonstrate compliance. The revised documentation submitted has included 1. A revised vegetation management plan and biodiversity assessment report, which now meet the requirements of Council's consultant ecologist. Second point, a draft community title scheme, including plan and management statement, was prepared to allow for the creation of community lots to preserve the vegetation areas and the existing dam and riparian area in line with the planning panel recommendation. Third was an amendment to the bushfire report that was provided by the RFS for concurrence. And the fourth were the civil plans that were updated to reflect the proposed community title plan and provide additional detail on road and drainage arrangements. These additional plans and associated updated reports now address all of the planning panel's deferred matters. Revised referrals to the RFS and Water New South Wales have been made and updated with concurrence conditions have been provided demonstrating compliance with the state authority requirements. We have always welcomed council staff's recommendations for approval of this development. I have been involved with this over many times with community consultation from 2001. So I don't know if you want to ask me questions about what I know, but
I think we do have some questions. I might go first. So you've had a look at the council officer's report. Did you have any issues with any of the draft conditions in there?
I haven't read that report properly because I have only just been as a fill-in here at the moment, but we will refer that to the company. Richard has got COVID and he's not here today.
Right, okay. In the...
I'm more hands-on with the development, or was more hands-on with the development. I mean, stage one that we did where these people live now, I mean, was a similar situation. And they
Oh,
had
okay,
been
so it was your
trees-
company that did stage one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. The vegetation management plan, there are some draft conditions in the report about that and the obligation to maintain the community lot 1 and the vegetation in accordance with that vegetation management plan. And it wasn't clear to me because there was a conflict between the documentation, whether it was proposed that the developer would maintain, or your client would,
I think
or your
that's written
company
into
would
the
maintain.
community title
Yeah,
contract, is it
so,
not?
so there was something in the vegetation management plan that the developer would maintain that vegetation for a period of 2 years was in one place and 5 years in another. Do you know what is the correct?
I thought it would have been 2 years because I think the requirement, and the basic requirement is 12 months, I believe.
And is it 2 years from what? From the date of issue of the subdivision
I think from the
certificate?
LTO, from the
Registration of
registration,
the
I would
plan
believe,
of-
yes.
So 2 years from registration of the plan. And do you have any idea what sort of costs would be involved in that 2-year period?
I do not know.
And
These are matters I'll have to refer to more authority than
I mean, we have to be satisfied if we're going to grant consent that the vegetation management plan will be implemented. So we're just trying to work out what
Well,
what your
that
understanding
would
is.
be as a condition anyway, so that would be on the acceptance of a DA, that would be accept, because that would be a condition written down and
Right,
signed
so
for.
it's not anything the developer proposes, you're saying it'll be up to us?
What would be up to you?
What would be the period that the developer
No, I
would
think
maintain?
they've proposed that in the DA, have they not?
I'm just
Didn't
saying,
you
in one
just
place
say
it
there
says
was-
2 years, another it says 5 years, so
Yeah.
anyway, you're not clear about that.
We'll have to clarify that, yeah.
And then there's also one of the reasons it was deferred was to enable the creation of a pathway, and that's shown on the plan, but is it proposed that the developer will construct that pathway?
I believe so.
Okay. All right. All right, so it's unfortunate that we don't have your ecologist or bushfire person here,
I
but
think-
anyway, we'll deal
the
with those.
ecologists in the bushfire report have already been handed with that,
Yes.
have they not?
Certainly.
And I think they've been amended to actually, satisfy the requirements of this panel.
Yes, well, that's something we'll have to deal with in our deliberations. So I'll just close it off.
Actually, only to confirm that, that I'm aware that the concurrence that we have received, because I was not aware of that last week, so I believe that.
That's reported as well.
So I believe last week we have received that. We have, now we have received it, however, that has not been uploaded to the portal, and this also, the conditions weren't included.
Can I ask why that wasn't uploaded to the portal?
No, you cannot ask that. This is not an opportunity for anyone to ask questions except the panel. So if you have nothing else further, then I'm going to close the meeting. It's 2:53 p.m. We're now going to go to close session. I'm sorry, if you heard me